Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we will be discussing about cardiac murmurs and its classification. Before starting, I would like to say that you can find the detailed text to this video on our website, and I will be mentioning the link down below in the description box. Without further delay, let's get started. So, cardiac murmurs. What are cardiac murmurs? They are periodic and prolonged sounds that are auscultated in the area of the heart. It can be inside the cardiac cavity or it can be outside the cardiac cavity. And these murmurs can be synchronized with the heart's activity too. Let's get into the classification. So in the first type, it is classified by the origin of localization. And we have two types. We have intracardiac and extracardiac. Intracardiac can be divided into organic or inorganic. Organic means mainly it's depending on the structure of the heart, and inorganic means some functional issue inside the heart. And let's see first of all about organic intracardiac murmurs. These murmurs are due to any structural changes of the heart and which are pathological. And let's see some basic clinical variants of these organic intracardiac murmurs. And there are four valves inside the heart, and we have mitral valve, aortal valve, pulmonary artery valve, tricuspid valve, which is also known as the right atrioventricular valve, and also the mitral valve, which is also known as the left atrioventricular valve. And so these valves might have some pathological issues, which can be of two types. It can be insufficiency or stenosis. What is insufficiency? Insufficiency means that this valve is not closing properly, and the blood will flow back through the valve. And what does stenosis means? Stenosis means the valve will not open properly during systole, and it will result in stagnation of blood in the structures which are behind to these valves. So these structures, and with these pathologies, it will result in formation of organic intracardiac murmurs. Let's get back to our next type, which is inorganic or functional murmurs. So by the name itself, we can see that it's some issue going on with our with the functional state of our heart, and it occurs in absence of any pathological changes to our structure of the heart. And let's see some of the basic clinical variants of inorganic or functional intracardiac murmurs. And the first type is functional type. Functional type, it occurs due to functional drawbacks of the heart valve, which can be occurring due to some distension of the heart valves, and for example like changes in the tones of papillary muscle, as an example. Let's go to the second type, which is anemic type, and this occurs due to instability of our blood's viscosity. And if there is any change of the viscosity, for example in case of anemia, we can see these murmurs when this blood will go through the heart. And the third type is hemodynamic type, which means like there are some issues with the blood flow. And in this case, some murmurs will occur if there is an accelerated blood flow flowing through the blood vessels which are connected to the heart, and also when these blood will be passing through the cardiac apertures. Let's go to our next type, which is extracardiac type, extracardiac murmurs, and from the name itself we can see that these murmurs aren't located inside the cardiac cavity, and they are present in the adjacent structures which are located near the heart, for example like pleural, and lungs. And also these murmurs can be connected to the heart's activity. And let's see some basic clinical variants of extracardiac murmurs. So the first type is pericardial rub. And this pericardial rub occurs when there is an accumulation of fibrinous exudates in between the leaves of the pericardium, and when there is an unevenness on their surfaces, and there can be a friction which will result in some formation of a murmur, which is also known as this pericardial rub. Our next type is pleural pericardial mumma. Pleural pericardial mumma is when there is fibrinous exudate accumulated in between the leaves of the mediastinal pleura and the pericardium. So again, there can be some surface unevenness, a friction going on, and which will again result into a formation of this mumma, and it is then known as the pleural pericardial mumma. And our next type is Cardiopulmonary Mumma. This is when there is an additional air filling into our alveoli of our lungs, which are located near the heart. So once these air will be filling inside the lungs, which are located near the heart, they can adjoin to the heart. The lung can adjoin to the heart, and during systole of the heart, with the elasticity of the lungs at its maximum, and there is systole, a murmur can be heard. Our next type is classifying the cardiac murmurs depending on which phase of the cardiac cycle they will appear. And we have three types of them. The first type is systolic murmur. Systolic murmur appears in between the first and the second tone, which is during the ventricular systole. And the second type is diastolic murmur, and by the name itself you know that it's happening during diastole, which can be heard between the second and the first tone, and it is during the ventricular diastole. Next is our third type, which is systolo-diastolic murmur, which is a continuous murmur, which means that this murmur can be very continuous and there is no stopping between systole or diastole. Let's move on. And in the next classification, we will be classifying cardiac murmurs depending on the duration. And we have two types. The first type is long murmur. Long murmur is when this murmur is lasting for more than half of the cardiac cycle. And then we have the short murmur. The short murmur will last less than half of the cardiac cycle. Next, we will be classifying cardiac murmurs depending on its volume. And we have several types based on their volume. The first type is decreasing murmur, which is when the sound, the volume will be decreasing gradually from the start till its extinction. Next murmur is increasing murmur, which means the volume will increase from the start of its occurrence till its extinction. Next is increasing murmur, which means at the start the cardiac murmur will decrease and then it will increase. And the next murmur is decreasing murmur, which means at the start it will increase and then it will decrease. And then we have monotonous murmur, which means that the volume does not change and the volume will be the same throughout its course. And next we will classify cardiac murmurs depending on its quality. And we have several types. For example, blowing murmurs, scraping murmurs, rustling murmurs, soughing murmurs, rolling murmurs, flowing murmurs, and then our last is musical murmurs. And the last but not the least, we have the classification depending on its irradiation, and it can be of two types: no irradiation at all or irradiation present. And this can irradiate to several areas: the left axillary area, the left subclavian area, on the neck area, and the interscapular area. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and see you next time with my next upcoming video.